Most car owners don't think about their cooling system until it's too late. A sudden breakdown, steam pouring out from under the hood, a repair bill that feels like a punishment. But what if I told you that your car's cooling system doesn't have to be a ticking time bomb? That with one simple shift in how you treat it, you could make it last, not just longer, but practically forever. This isn't a gimmick. It's not a product pitch. It's a mindset. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your radiator the same way again. Let's dive in. The cooling system is one of the most misunderstood parts of a car. It's not flashy. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't light up on your dashboard unless something's already gone wrong. But it's quietly doing one of the most important jobs, keeping your engine from overheating. Here's the truth. Every time your engine runs, it generates intense heat. Without a cooling system, that heat would destroy the engine in minutes. The radiator, water pump, thermostat, hoses, and coolant fluid all work together to absorb that heat and carry it away. But here's the catch. Most people treat their cooling system like it's maintenance-free. They assume that if the car isn't overheating, everything's fine. And that assumption is exactly what leads to failure. Because the cooling system doesn't give early warning signs. It degrades slowly, the coolant becomes acidic, the hoses weaken, the radiator clogs, and by the time you notice something's wrong, the damage is already done. So, no, it's not your fault. You were never taught how to care for it. But today, that changes. If you remember one thing from this video, let it be this. Flush and replace your coolant every 2 to 3 years, no exceptions. That's it. That's the habit. That's the secret. Coolant isn't just colored water. It's a chemical cocktail designed to absorb heat, prevent corrosion, and protect your engine from freezing or boiling over. But over time it breaks down, it becomes acidic, it loses its protective properties, and when that happens, it starts eating away at the very system it's supposed to protect. Think of it like dental hygiene. You wouldn't wait until your teeth hurt to brush them. You do it regularly to prevent problems. Flushing your coolant is the same idea. It's proactive care. Now, some manufacturers claim their coolant lasts 100,000 miles or more, and technically it might. But here's what they don't tell you. Long life coolant still degrades. It still becomes corrosive. And if you wait until the recommended interval, you're gambling with your radiator's life. Professional mechanics, especially those who specialize in long-term vehicle health, recommend flushing the system every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, or every 2 to 3 years. It's cheap, it's fast, and it can save you thousands in repairs. Let's talk about why people ignore this advice. It's not laziness. It's psychology. We're wired to respond to visible problems. A flat tire, a dead battery, a weird noise. But the cooling system is invisible. It doesn't scream for attention. And so, we forget it. Behavioral science calls this salience bias. We prioritize what's obvious and ignore what's hidden. And car manufacturers, in their effort to make vehicles more maintenance-free, have leaned into that bias. They've removed dipsticks, hidden reservoirs, made it harder for owners to even check their coolant. But here's the empowering part. Once you understand that bias, you can overcome it. You can build a habit that protects your car before problems arise. Set a reminder. Mark your calendar. Make it part of your yearly routine. Because flushing your coolant isn't just maintenance. It's a declaration that you care about your car's long-term health. Let's get specific. When coolant breaks down, it becomes acidic. That acid starts corroding the metal parts of your radiator and water pump. It eats away at seals, it causes buildup that clogs narrow passages, and eventually it leads to overheating. Overheating is catastrophic. It can warp your engine block, crack your head gasket, destroy your transmission, and once that happens, you're not just replacing a radiator, you're rebuilding your engine. All of that from ignoring a $100 flush. And it's not just older cars. Modern vehicles are even more sensitive. They use aluminum radiators, plastic tanks, and electronic thermostats, all of which are vulnerable to corrosion. One bad batch of coolant can ruin them. So don't wait for symptoms. Don't wait for steam. Flush it before it fails. If you're a DIYer, here's how to do it right. First, make sure the engine is completely cool. Never open the radiator cap on a hot engine. It can spray boiling coolant and cause serious burns. Next, locate the drain plug at the bottom of the radiator. Place a pan underneath and open the plug to drain the old coolant. Dispose of it properly. Coolant is toxic and should never be poured down the drain. Then, close the plug and fill the system with distilled water. Run the engine for a few minutes to circulate, then drain again. This flushes out any remaining residue. Finally, fill the system with fresh coolant, preferably the type recommended by your manufacturer. Some cars require specific formulas, so don't guess. Use a 50-50 mix of coolant and distilled water unless your coolant is pre-mixed. Bleed the system to remove air pockets. This step is crucial. Trapped air can cause overheating even with fresh coolant. Some cars have bleed valves, others require a specific procedure. Look it up for your model. If you're not comfortable doing this yourself, a professional flush costs around $100 to $150. It's worth every penny. Want to go even further? Here are a few habits that compound the benefits of regular flushing. Check your coolant level monthly. Even a small leak can lead to overheating. If the level drops, investigate, don't just top it off. Inspect your hoses for cracks, bulges, or softness. Replace them every 5 to 7 years, even if they look okay. Rubber degrades over time. Replace your thermostat every 60,000 to 100,000 miles. It's a cheap part, but if it fails, it can cause major damage. Use distilled water, not tap water, when mixing coolant. Tap water contains minerals that can clog your radiator over time. And finally, don't ignore your radiator cap. It maintains pressure in the system. If it's weak or leaking, your coolant can boil off prematurely. These small habits, stacked together, create a system of care that makes your cooling system practically bulletproof. Let's zoom out. This isn't just about car parts, it's about the emotional toll of neglect, the frustration of a breakdown, the helplessness of being stranded, the guilt of knowing it could have been prevented. We've all felt it, that sinking feeling when something goes wrong and we realize we ignored the warning signs. But here's the good news. You don't have to live in that cycle. You can choose prevention, you can choose empowerment, you can choose to treat your car not as a disposable machine, but as a partner in your life. Because when you care for your cooling system, you're not just protecting metal and fluid. You're protecting your time, your money, your peace of mind. And that's worth everything. Most people think of overheating as a dramatic event. Smoke, panic, a stranded roadside call. But the real danger isn't the breakdown. It's the slow decay that leads up to it. And that decay is often caused by things you never see. Let's start with electrolysis. It sounds like a chemistry experiment, but it's happening inside your cooling system right now. When electrical current leaks into the coolant, usually from a bad ground wire or a failing sensor, it causes microscopic corrosion inside the radiator and engine block. Tiny metal particles flake off and circulate through the system, slowly clogging passages and eating away at components. You won't see it, you won't feel it. But over time, it destroys your cooling system from the inside out. The fix? Make sure your car's electrical system is properly grounded. Mechanics can test for stray voltage in the coolant using a multimeter. If they find any, it's a red flag, and it needs to be addressed immediately. Then there's the issue of mixed coolants. This one's sneaky. You top off your reservoir with whatever bottle you find in the garage. Maybe it's green, maybe it's orange, maybe it's labeled universal, but mixing incompatible coolants can cause chemical reactions that form sludge, block passages, and ruin your water pump. Coolant isn't one size fits all. Some cars use organic acid technology, OAT, others use hybrid organic acid technology, and some still use traditional inorganic formulas. Mixing them is like mixing oil and water. It doesn't end well. So if you're topping off, make sure it's the exact type your car needs. And if you're unsure, flush the system completely before switching brands. Let's talk about something almost no one checks: the radiator fan. It's easy to forget. It's tucked away behind the grill. It only kicks on when the engine gets hot. But without it, your cooling system can't do its job. Here's how it works. When your car is moving, air flows through the radiator and cools the coolant. But when you're idling at a stoplight, in traffic, or parked with the engine running, there's no airflow. That's when the radiator fan kicks in, pulling air through the radiator to keep temperatures stable. If the fan fails, your car overheats, especially in summer, especially in traffic. And here's the twist: fan failure isn't always obvious. Sometimes the motor weakens, sometimes the relay fails, sometimes the temperature sensor that triggers the fan stops working. And unless you're watching your temperature gauge like a hawk, you won't notice until it's too late. So, how do you protect it? Run a simple test. Let your car idle with the AC on. Within a few minutes, the fan should kick in. If it doesn't, there's a problem. And if the fan sounds weak, wobbly, or unusually loud, it's time for a replacement. Radiator fans are cheap. Overheating isn't. Don't wait for a meltdown. So here's the challenge. Flush your coolant. Not next year. Not when something breaks. Do it now. Make it a ritual, make it a habit, and watch your cooling system last, not just longer, but forever. Because forever isn't a promise. It's a practice, and it starts today. If this video helped you see your car's cooling system in a new light, don't let that insight fade. Hit that like button to let the algorithm know this kind of content matters. Subscribe for more deep dives that go beyond surface level advice, because your car deserves care that's proactive, not reactive. And if you've ever faced a breakdown that could have been prevented, share your story in the comments. Let's build a community where regret turns into wisdom and wisdom turns into action.